Good afternoon, everybody. Today's Thursday, the 2nd of May, so it's getting through to the end of week one here at school. As a staff, we commenced the week with the School Development Day. Our focus across the whole Department of Education was on explicit teaching, and I've outlined in today's newsletter really some of those focus points. Nothing that's new or revolutionary, but it was a really good opportunity for us as a system to focus pedagogy in an evidence-based way, a way that really promotes the best outcomes for students. So do enjoy that reading. Clearly for us though, working through class allocations has been a fairly big activity for us over the last couple of weeks, and we have a number of our staff who are unwell and are on leave, and I'm really keen to support them with that leave to make sure they take as much leave as they need to be able to return to school fit and well and ready for the students and for school. Now that does create a little bit of a challenge back here at work, so while I'm encouraging people to use their leave, and we really do want them to utilise that to the fullest extent possible, it does mean that we now have a couple of vacancies that we're filling, and those vacancies sort of exist for a week or two, and then sometimes that rolls into a few more weeks, and that has the potential to continue, and you would see that in your own workplaces as well. As a system where we have a long-term vacancy that we know about right here today, we're able to fill that with a temporary teacher, but that needs to be a long-term vacancy that's known today. And in the case of our colleagues who are off at the moment, they're just not able to work with that surety, and that's part of our industrial framework that we need to respect and to acknowledge. So luckily enough for us, we've got a number of teachers who are well able, very flexible, and who can prioritise some classes ahead of their normal professional duties. So we have Mrs. Granville, who's working kindergarten at the moment. Mr. Watkins has headed off to 4L, and Miss Donahoe's off to 2O at the moment. And Kay Yellow, we have Miss Edgecombe here, who's here as a temporary teacher for a few weeks ahead of a new relieving assistant principal who will commence at the start of week 3. Imagine there are some plans here at school that are long-term and strategic, and we set them up at the start of the year and they run for the whole year, but there are other plans that we have to put in place due to arising issues that we make sure we're focusing on what's best for the students with the information that we've got. And so the plan we've got now most certainly puts the students first. Our priority is to make sure that within that industrial framework that student need is of our highest priority, and as plans change, of course, we'll keep everybody in the loop. Now the other things to be on everyone's radar is that fun run across country is scheduled for next week. We're hoping the weather will hold off, and this year we are scheduling the year 2 through 6 cross country and the K and 1 fun runs at the same time. So that'll create a little bit of activity in the school year, but it does mean that if you're interested in coming along and seeing those events, you can sort of pop over between Oakley Park and our back oval, and you can do both of those at the same time. And the other thing to be aware of is that on Tuesday night here at school, we have our art show. So it's a little bit like going to an art gallery. We won't have the teachers there to show everyone around. It'll be really a case of please come. There's a blurb that's been provided. I'll be there as a host. Our band is there playing some music as well to make the event fantastic. So between 5 and 6 on Tuesday evening, come along to the hall. You can really see the wide range of work that the students have produced. And the whole idea of the art show is it gives a culminating activity and something that's really interesting for the kids and purposeful to motivate them throughout term 1 in their visual arts studies. So that's what's been happening there as well. And you would have heard a lot of media talk about school budgets, executive entitlements, etc. I've just typed a little bit of information about that in our newsletter this week, but the reality is everything at Thornley West will continue. Budget adjustments aren't new. They happen all the time in our world due to incoming students, fluctuations in staff, student numbers. We do a budget adjustment every month. This one's just a little bit bigger and impacts schools across the whole state, but the reality is that we have sufficient resources, sufficient flexibility to make sure that all of the programs we had planned for the year and the events planned for the year will continue nonetheless. So from everyone here, welcome back to term 2. It's been a fantastic start to the term. We look forward to the next 10 weeks of quality learning ahead. Thanks everybody.